Hey, so we're here. Let's look at our warriors. The man right here. There's the man of the hour. I feel like this is so good. Multi-target. Um, Specialize in gunnery.
Training complete.
Medusa. He's a recruit. He doesn't have one. Glitch is a gunner, so she's gonna take better gunnery stats.
Training confirmed, Commander. What do you need?
Decker is a recruit as well. I think we use him to do a sensor lock.
Commander?
And she's a defender.
Aye, aye.
So we need bulwark, which would be nice.
Training complete.
Well, pilot. Okay. Let's go over to the mech bay.
Ready for orders. Mech Warrior training complete.
What do I got? Okay. Hit a lot of medium lasers. C2 ammo. I already have some in here. Maybe I put some more in here. This gives me how many shots then? It contain 25 rounds. So I think I'm fine with that actually. I did lose a medium laser off the right side. To personnel, weapon systems include small laser, machine gun, and flamer. We're at 45 tons. Max armor. Alright. That's the mech bay. Let's talk to Yang. Welcome to the mech bay, my own little piece of heaven right here on the ship. What I can do. An assessment on the Leopard. How much trouble are we in? We're okay for the moment. Give it a few months, maybe a year. You know how it goes. Eventually, everything falls apart. Maybe our dry system will go out. Maybe some debris will perforate the hull. Who knows?
Need something?
Question about the mech bay. as we go through the game, I know a lot about that portion. So, how do you run up with this crew? Also, boss, short version I can give you. I signed on after I served my term in the Third Succession War, fighting the Capellian Confederation. So, we began in 1866 when coordinator Myogi Kurita responded aggressively to rumors of the Draconis Combine's weakness. But the fighting spread to the entire inner sphere because the successor states' military capabilities had been dramatically reduced in the previous two succession wars. This conflict proceeded at a slower pace and with less intensity than the earlier wars. Treaties signed in 3020, 3022 limited the fighting, and by 3025 the Third Succession War officially ended. So it's past 3025. One of five successor states of Star League, located Rim World of Terra, I think it's Earth. Ruled by House Leal, the Confederation is the smallest newest of the successor states, often the loser in conflicts against the other powers of the inner sphere. It is an authoritarian police state with philosophical origins and a text known as the Corvian Doctrine, which argues for total subservience of the individual to the state. Citizens of the Confederation must earn their position and the benefits of citizenship through service to their community. The current ruler of the Confederation is Chancellor Maximilian Leal, a shrewd planner and master manipulator. Okay, where are you from originally? You may have heard of our claim to fame, the Crowley lizard cow. An edible reptile indigenous to the planet Bryant, the meat of the Crowley lizard cow is considered a delicacy and is one of Bryant's few planetary exports. In the Confederation. The story goes, Bryant was a very nice place, once a tourist spot, big with hikers and fishing enthusiasts, pale blue skies, emerald green seas, and a blooming agricultural business. Stefan Amaris, president of the Rimworld's Republic. Stefan Marius expanded the Republican Army and placed Republican agents in key positions throughout the Start League. He fostered a close relationship with Richard Cameron while the First Lord was in his minority. When Cameron came of age, Amaris guided him towards policies that would move Alexander Kerensky's SLDF away from Terra and place Republican forces there instead. With these preparations in place, Stefan Amaris murdered Richard Cameron on December 27, 2766, declared himself First Lord, beginning the Amarius Civil War. Kerensky raised the Rimworld's Republic and returned to Terra to defeat Amaris' forces and capture him. Stefan Amaris was executed by firing squad in 2779. His remains were donated to the medical school of the University of New Samarkand. Okay. Bryant used to have these enormous orbital mirrors. Storm inhibitors, they're called them. The Star League put them in place. We took the system in the Civil War as troops used them for target practice. Without those mirrors, Bryant referred to his natural state, a miserable little ball of wind-blown dirt, actively hostile to human life. By the time I came along, the only place where people could live in relative safety were the planet's poles. Of course, you can't fit a planet's entire population in a handful of cities at its poles. There is enough space, no matter how far down you dig or how tall you build. A lot of people, mostly poor, died in the early days. There's still a lot of overcrowding. Okay, tell me about your time in the military. The 2nd St. Ives Lancers. Well-connected and well-financed regiment, the Lancers operate along the Capellian Confederation's Rimward Quarter, fighting off pirates and conducting raids into the Free Worlds League. In 3025, 3 battalions are allocated to the defense of St. Ives, Malador, and St. Laurice. Under Major Ling, we saw more action than most. The Armis, a souvenir of their time of service, lost the original back in 3010 on St. Laurice. As you can see, he lost his arm, but he's got a pretty sweet mechanical one there. You know, when we first arrived in St. Louis, to load the place, the agricultural world served a bread basket for the neighboring systems. Grain fields, rolling hills, you get the picture. Just walk out of hell on Kittery. Previously under Capellian rule in 3005, this inhospitable jungle world was conquered by the Federated Suns. The resistance movement kept the world a war zone for many years. In the 3020s, House Leal returned and waged war for a more permanent liberation. So far, it succeeded only in creating lasting enmity towards the defending first Kittery borders and the invading force of the St. Ives Armored Cav. Federats, a person living in or whose natural origin is the Federated Sons, considered derogatory. 05, their tails between our legs look like paradise to us. I remember kicking back in the med bay, my feet propped up in an engine block, sipping on a snifter of Amargus Vermouth. This red usually found in tiny bottles in sports shops, getting large BattleTech connections. Not a bad way to spend a sunny afternoon. Turned out the Federated Sons. We know about that. Weren't done with us yet. We were barely a month into our deployment when they sent the City Hussars. Created by the Federated Sons in an effort to replicate a light horse-style regiment of the Star League era. The combination of mechs and mounted infantry was ideal for conducting swift raids. The Hussars also encouraged personnel to dine together regardless of rank or branch of service, promoting high re-enlistment rate. I'm sure there was sound strategic reasons for House Devon to want St. Louis, but it sure felt personal to me. By the Freedom Sword, from their capital world of New Avalon, the Davian family led the Federated Sons to become one of the largest, most military powerful states in the Inner Sphere. The Federated Sons, motto by Freedom's Sword, illustrates their self-image as a nation, the champion of freedom, democracy, and human rights, although the reality is not so clear-cut. In addition to being a military power, the Federated Sons is home to the new Avalon Institute of Science, the premier research and development center of the 31st century. Long story short, one of their scouts managed to slip through our perimeter and hit my mech bay. I was tinkering around in a Centurion's custom-made rubble seat, an optional secondary passenger seat that can be built into a control area of battle mech. Rumble seats are positioned away from all control systems and ejection equipment. Those who ride in them have no control over the mech itself and are utterly at the mercy of the Mech Warrior in the cockpit. Being surrounded by all that armor is the only reason I made it out alive. Still, I didn't make it out unscathed. I lost two of my favorite assistants and my own right arm. I've got this ugly thing grafted onto me as a reminder. Okay, why'd you leave the Capellian Confederation? Maturity's up, you mean? I don't know, just time for a change. Besides, the place wasn't for me anymore. In a way, it never really was. I've learned a lot from my time on the surface. Got a first-hand view of the elitist bullshit that saturates Capellian culture. How it rewards highborn idiots at the common people's expense. Speaking as a thoroughly common man, that didn't sit right with me. When my tour was over, I walked away and never looked back. Never really get away from the aristocracy. Yang, hell, I was born in Orbital. Yeah, but you're a competent noble, and you aren't afraid to get your hands dirty. At the end of the day, that's all I really care about. I wonder how many times I watched talented engineers get passed over for promotions so some idiot with a title could advance. Too many to count. Glad you walked away. Way more than once, if memory serves. I still appreciate the kind words for what it's worth having to be here. Okay, cool. Let's talk about something else. Ain't nothing else to talk about. We're doing good work, Yang. Alright, cool. What up, Samire? Samire Mayer. Does the decision we make about uncertified contracts satisfy your concerns? My concerns won't be satisfied until our creditors have been paid and the loan sharks are off our backs. This is a step in the right direction and makes me happy. I'm not blind to the risks that uncertified contracts entail. Okay? Any stories about the crew? Tell me about yourself. Well, I'm from a noble family like you. We're old money, made our fortune out in the Rasselhog. A minor interstellar state conquered 700 years ago by the Draconis Combine, now officially known as the Rasselhog Military District. Then repatriated to the Turing Concordat. Okay, that's where I grew up. I'm not sure if this kind of stuff you were hoping to hear, but if you can talk about whatever, I'm not shy. Where are you from? Grew up in New Vandenberg. It's a nice enough place, I suppose. You like birds? Yeah, I like birds. then you'd like New Vandenberg. It's basically one big aviary. Something like 2/3 of the native fauna has feathers, flutters in the wind, and splatters its shit across every available surface. Naturally, the original colonists adopted the feathery little monsters into the culture, and those of us that came after were kind of stuck with it. Statues, fountains, murals, you name it, just a giant feathery pile of screeching alien birds. The system had a motto, it'd be squawk. Cute. Maybe if I hadn't grown up with it. Where'd you learn to pilot a leopard? Victoria Naval Institute on New Vandenberg. Well, among other places, it's a big campus. The low-gravity training station orbiting Lombok was my second home for a time. T9 flight training isn't usually open to civilians, but my parents had good credit back then, and they could name drop Protector Calderon. Thomas Calderon succeeded his mother, Zorinthia Calderon, as protector of the Turin Concordat in 3017. House Calderon leaders were known for their pragmatism and sound judgment. Thomas is no exception. Other cadets in my class were especially happy sharing air with a civvy, but they couldn't say much. I was notably, and they weren't. Everyone sort of kept me at arm's length, so I had plenty of time to concentrate on my studies. Got my certification in both dropship and jumpship operations in 4 years. I even tried working on a commercial jump crew for a while once upon a time. This wasn't for me. Tell me about House Meyer. You're looking at it. My parents are both gone, blood cancer and heart disease, respectively. Both treatable, but they were out of money at that point, so into the ground they went. Ditto my brother David, who ran off to serve in the Third Succession War and never came back. No stranger to loss myself. Yeah, I'm sure not. Nobody is really. It's a rough galaxy. David was 13 years older than me and had a foot out the door before I turned 3. And my parents, well, they raised me by proxy in a traditional noble fashion. There was no real bond there, even when I was young. None of this is to say that my folks were bad people. They weren't. They were just doing what they knew. Their upbringings had been outsourced just like mine was. That's all I got to say. Russell Hogg. Long time ago, but yeah, as my parents told it, we were landowners on Ramdi Turi. It's a agricultural world, sort of the breadbasket of the Draconis Combine. And yes, I know that Pompe Diri means potato. My ancestors came from the planet Potato, and it took some time for me to accept that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. House Meyer's holdings were meager, but the value of that land was astronomical. For minor nobility, we were really wealthy. And then the Third Succession War broke out, and the political rhetoric got ugly. House Meyer didn't want a single part of what was happening, so my ancestors emptied their accounts and ran. As rural house, Kurita takes, which is Honor of the Dragon. House Kurita has dominated the Draconius Combine since its founding in 2319 by Shuryo Kurita, who imbued the state with a strong Japanese culture, personal honor, and self-reliance bordering on exophobia, are hallmarks of Kuritian policy. Embracing the way of the warrior, the Draconis Combine has had a long history of antagonism with and aggression against its neighbors. It takes a really dim view of nobles who cut and run. Words like traitor and defector start getting thrown around. In the Combine, you really don't want to be on the receiving end of allegations like that. I wouldn't be staying here today if House Calderon had granted my ancestors asylum in the Concordat. In all likelihood, House Meyer would have been wiped out before I was even born. Okay. I know how navigation works. Let's customize the company. I think we're going to be a lion.
Good day, Commander.
gonna be the Legion of Doom. Okay. Talk to Darius. Always good to see you up, Stark. Can I do something for you? I want to know more about our debt situation. Sure, that's fair. I'm glad you're taking interest. I've got the time to go into nuts and bolts if you want. Why did we take out so many loans in the first place? It just sounds counterproductive at this point.
What do you need?
How much time have you got? I mean, we've hit with 1,000 expenses since we were forced to flee Commodore, but I guess you're mostly interested in the big ticket items. Well, first and foremost, there's the Leopard. We still owe a lot of money on this ship, and losing her is an option. Then you've got all the assorted fallout from our impromptu trip across the frontier, drumship passage, docking fees, miscellaneous travel expenses, all paid on credit. There's more I could get into. The loan we took out, to set up Markham's family, etc., but we'd be guiding the Lily at this point. Who are we in debt to? Top 3, you got Blue Horizon. That's the big commercial bank on Lyerton. A system in the Agurian frontier, Lyerton was formerly a Capelan garrison were lost after the Second Secession War. The population of Lyerton is spread across 3 tropical moons of the system's large gas giant. Each moon is independent, and civil conflict between the moons makes the system a tense and dangerous place. They're the ones that own a lease on the ship. Then there's the Injury Consortium. They've got people everywhere, but they're based somewhere in Merrick space. United we stand. The Free Worlds League, the oldest of all successor states, has been long ruled by House Merrick. The League is an open multicultural state consisting of many great and small realms loosely joined together. Politically fragile and frequently riven with instability, House America has relied heavily on free trade and technical advancement to keep pace with its rivals. We borrowed from one of their associates to make the jump away from Commodore the day of the coup. Finally, we've got Lockdown Lending. They're a frontier outfit from Hastor, and they're about as quickly as they come. Now, I wouldn't normally do business with the outfit like the Double L. We didn't have a choice. They made a deal with Blue Horizon to buy half our debt. So that's the big 3: a commercial bank, a steadily financial consortium, and a bunch of leg breakers and cheap stoots. Each of them is dangerous in its own way. Okay. I'd like to catch up. You worked with the Arano Royal Guard. Tell me about it. We're just deployment as a full campaign. High Lord Tamati gave us a job back in 19. We were supposed to be assisting the Royal Guard to round up and eliminate Pirate Clan and Bajar. It was originally a Capellian colony world. I hit my mouse. Lost in Secession Wars. It is a bleak ice planet swept constantly by howling winds and blowing snow. The original colony was largely underground, built in the sides of a deep kilometer-wide shaft that breached the ice that envelops this world. Bajar survives on its rich mineral resources and its position as a well-connected hub near the inner sphere. Commander Markham thought it'd be easy money, turned out to be anything but. We lost a dozen Mech Warriors in 3 months of the campaign, had to hose them out of their cockpits. Would have been more if it wasn't for Raju, he saved our people's asses more than one occasion, went out of his way to do it. The thing is, he didn't have to. We were under his protection, and we were hired help. A lot of people in Master's position would have used us as cannon fire, but that wasn't his way. He treated us as if we were his own. Think about yourself. Grew up on Nassau Heights. It's one of the HAB stations orbiting Artru, 30 decks of economic stratification with the corporate suits in the upper decks and everyone else crammed in the lower ones. Well, man was dock hand. We lived at dock 28, 2 levels up from the bottom, with the other station maintenance personnel. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, my dad would load up and unload cargo shuttles, vacuum sealed. Well, they are. A bioengineered crop that serves as a staple foodstuff in the inner sphere. It looks like an ordinary grain but grows to twice the size of Terran corn and can be textured and flavored to mimic a wide variety of fruits, grains, and vegetables. Okay. A nutrient paste for people like us and luxury goods for the suits upstairs. The old man must have unloaded 1,000 crates of Casalden Eel Row. Aquatic world famed for its bountiful deadly oceans. The human population is clustered on volcanic island chains along the equator, while the oceans are ruled by a vast array of native predatory life forms. Seafood is sold as a delicacy throughout the RimWorld periphery. Which kind of sounds like, what is it? The damn Subnautica. Everything can kill you in that game. Plump, succulent eggs the size of melon balls. Never got to chase any, though. Any one of those tins would have cost him half a year's wages. Anyway, Dark, I don't want to sell you my life story. Suffice to say, I got an eye full of what I didn't want to be on Nassau High, so I struck out on my own. Okay. We gotta run. Let's look at our finances. So this is our monthly total. It's our monthly total, so what is that? 2, that's right here. About $250,000
You know where to find me.
a month, so. Okay, what's our reputation? It's the major powers and the review board. Okay. So the star map. Was a wasteland, but geothermal vents create temperature zones of planet's few inhabitants and mine plentiful mineral resources. Planetary government and someone else who doesn't really care about anything. That's the detectorate. What was this? That's the Concordat. Confederation. Who is this? The Federation's Sons. For Worlds League. Some random planetary government. This is like not the fun time. Let's also look at do you have any contracts in the system? It's easy stuff. What's our base looking like? 18 days. It's going to take 18 days to refit that. So hopefully this is much more for the planets. Oh, asset retrieval. Okay. I'll negotiate. They were good with that. I think we take. We'll take more salvage. Right now, yeah. You know what? Let's go. Yeah, I'll take more salvage actually. Let's go middle ground here. We'll be able to select one and we get 6 random. Laser cell, okay. Do you have one ship that's up?
Calculating course now, Commander.
Engines prime. All hands prepare for transition to thrust gravity. Docking sequence commencing.
Shakedown. You're on the Leopard's Bridge with the crew and the daily staff. 3 messages from Banks. Educate the banks. Then you still remind your leading hosts that as financial institutions operating on Detroit 3, they must abide by local contract law. You even cite the relevant sections of the legal code from memory. Then you point out that as you've kept records of all your payments and correspondence concerning the loans, you will be able to demonstrate in court that their proposed revisions to the agreed upon terms would represent a gross violation of law that you would undoubtedly be rewarded a second dropship at the bank's expense. Once the camera's off, Samire says there's no way to push you on this. Too bad. I'd like to see the loan sharks grovel. Your company has gained the following text. Loan status, fair. Company's credit is currently rated as fair by the bank's financing the leopard, which at least deter them from sending bounty hunters. Well, that's nice of them. Oh. Come on, it's paused. We got 7 days until we need to do the next one. Okay, so we're all good. We have the Blackjack, the Vindicator, the Shadowhawk, Spider, and the Locust. I think I'm still going to take out the Spider. Locust would be something I take out as a secondary fast scout. As of right now, I'm liking these 4. If we get a heavier mech, I won't take the Spider out anymore. So yeah, let's I'm gonna end this stream here, guys. I will end up streaming probably not tomorrow, but look for it. I think I'm gonna start using Twitter a lot more to put out a little bit when I'm streaming. I'm just not sure if I will be tomorrow, but this will be up on YouTube, so it'll be some good time. We played about 2.5 hours so far. Exploring the game, exploring the crew, seeing what this game's all about. I feel like I have more of a chance to play this long term than I did XCOM. I love XCOM, but I'm just so bad at the game. Like, so bad at the game. You have no idea. So I will see you guys next time. Let's see who is on at the moment. And we will go from there. Is anyone playing this game at the moment? Yeah, I'm gonna send you over to guy I like to watch here and there. Go ahead and say hey to Filthy Robot. But I will see you guys next time. I may or may not be on tomorrow. I'm not sure. But y'all have a good night. I'll see you later.